We are going to be making broccoli or beef and broccoli stir fry. I've got some top round, a little over a pound, I guess, and I've already cut it into strips, anywhere from a quarter inch to maybe a third of an inch wide and about 3 inches long or so. And I put a little oil in my cast iron skillet on the stove. Preheated the oil a little bit. I think I could have waited a little bit longer before I put the meat in here because it's not sizzling very actively, but it's getting there. So just put all the beef in your medium high skillet and cook that, brown it until it's no longer pink in the middle. Okay, while our beef is still browning, cooking away here, I have a pot of water on the stove because we need to make some rice to have with our meal. While the water's heating there, I need to add a little salt to it because you always need to add a little salt with your rice. Helps it keep from sticking, and it helps get rid of some of those starches too. So when the water comes to boil, we'll be putting our rice in. While we're waiting for the water to boil, I sliced a couple small onions. You could use one medium one, would be fine. And I also pulled out a big handful of green bell peppers from my freezer that I've already sliced. Another item we're going to be adding to our stir fry are some bamboo shoots. They sell these little cans of them at the store. I opened it and I'm going to drain it here. And I also have a can of sliced mushrooms, pieces and stems, I guess it is. I'll drain that also. Okay, our beef has been cooking long enough. It's been about 5 minutes or so, or about, I didn't time it. And I'm going to add the onions and the sliced bell peppers to the pan after I pick it all up off the stove that I dumped. And then I'm going to add the bamboo shoots. Get all of those in there. And maybe. And then we'll be adding the mushroom stems and pieces. And now we're going to be adding a little bit of ginger, this is powdered or ground ginger. I'd say about 2 teaspoons for the whole thing. Just shake them on in there. And then we're going to stir everything all together. Okay, the water has come to a boil. We're going to add the rice. Dump the whole thing in there and don't do anything else to it. Just let it sit there. Don't stir it. Don't do anything. Don't put the lid on yet. We're going to wait for it to return to a boil. And when it does, we're going to put the lid on and reduce the heat. So stand by for that. Here I'm adding some red pepper flakes. Give it just a little bite, not much. Maybe half a tablespoon or thereabouts. Whatever you like, whatever your taste is. Time to put a little garlic in. This is wet garlic in a jar you get from the store. Once you open it, you got to keep it in the fridge. But I'm putting in about 2 teaspoons, I guess, in there. Whatever your flavor is for garlic, put whatever you want in there. And don't forget to stir it every once in a while it's cooking. You don't want everything on the bottom to turn to mush and everything on top to still be kind of rawish. Is rawish a word? Anyway, just give a little zhuzh around there and just keep things going and keep it interesting. The water's come to a boil, so I'm going to put the lid on the rice, turn down the heat to a simmer, and not bother with that until I see little craters appearing in the rice. I'll tell you something scary. Excuse me. This dish is called beef and broccoli stir fry, and I just about forgot to put the broccoli in it. But that's okay. I have a bag of frozen broccoli there I'm going to be using. Don't have any fresh, of course. But, yeah. Gotta have broccoli if you're going to have something called beef and broccoli. I like the broccoli kind of crisp still, and we don't want it cooked down to a mush. So this is okay. It'll cook in time. I just can't believe I almost forgot the broccoli. Now I'm going to put in some Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire. We're putting this in. I don't know, about 10 shakes or so. Whatever you feel that you would like in it, it's up to you. So I got to put that in, and we're going to stir it up a little bit, mix those flavors all around. Uh-oh, the rice is getting overactive. It's starting to bubble up a little bit too much. So I just raise the lid for a second, put it back down, calms right down. And now I'm going to add some, of all things, honey. It's the little honey bear. I would like to put some oyster sauce in there, but I don't have any. But I'm going to put some honey in there. But as you can see, the honey is starting to get a little stiff, and I couldn't get that sucker to come out of there for anything. So the solution is nuke it in the microwave. It only takes a few seconds. Take the lid off and just pour it straight in. It's so much easier. And there was only maybe a couple tablespoons of honey in this little jar. You see, I lifted the lid on the rice again because it was starting to boil. Yeah, but I just dumped it all in there because that's all I had left in that particular bottle. And all you got to do is stir it up and get to mix all the flavors together, and you're on your way. Well, let's see if we can get a look at how the rice is doing here on camera. Hold on, don't mean to make you dizzy. It's a little hard to tell, but there are some craters forming in the rice, little pockets where it's been bubbling up. Need a few more though. You need the water to not be showing up, the bubbles in the pot. And we'll check on that again another couple minutes and see how it's going. At this point, the stir fry is done, so I'm going to put a lid on it to keep it warm because the rice still has some cooking to do, so it's still some time on that. So we'll keep that warm. Time to check the rice again, and let's see what it looks like. I still see some bubbles in there, some moisture bubbling away, so we got to give it a little bit more time, but the craters are growing, so that's good. Okay, once more, it's time to check the rice, see how we're doing, and yes, that is looking much better. The craters are pretty deep and prominent. There's not a whole lot of moisture in there bubbling away, so I want to say that is a done deal. Since the rice is finished with the cooking part, at least the active cooking part, we're going to turn off the burner, and I'll just move the pot over to a cool area of the stove because it needs to sit for 15 minutes. Might as well turn the heat off of the stir fry also, so it doesn't continue to cook any, even though it's on the lowest setting. But just let that sit there. We'll set the timer for 15 minutes, and we'll be back when it beeps at me. Just want to make sure to take a fork and kind of fluff up your rice real good before you serve it out. It just makes it easier. It's not lumpy or clumpy. So I'll just go through most of the pot here, and I'll just go ahead and start serving it up. So there you have it. Beef and broccoli stir fry, my way. Give it a shot. It was wonderful.